I think that's a different type of discussion, but I think the computing of today is gonna be irrelevant soon. What you currently do on a computer as a standard user, browsing the web, sending and receiving messages, emails, phone calls, storing data, and that's about it. For some specific users, you are creating things, as in 3D creation, video creation, design, all of that. But the first 4 segments are soon gonna be irrelevant. Like, with the advancement of computing and the things that happens with AI generation and AI assistance, the ability of an AI assistant to reply to your emails for you based on your calendar without you having to check things, understand your behavior, and define things for you based on your behavior without you having to think about it, probably gonna happen. And then browsing the web doesn't exist anymore. If you have heard of that news story, I think it's 70%. 70 seems high. It's pretty high numbers. Young people in schools that have no clue how to use a computer. They also don't know how to use a browser because they have been living and growing with apps, and the only thing that they know is apps. So they need an app that does the thing that they want to do, but they have no fucking clue how to do that. Every apps and things automated and generated for you. It's integrating some of the large language model inside of these bitches, and you good. Like, most of the thing that you want to do, you can do on these. They will reply to you in a good way. That thing is basically going back. Basically, you're looking for something, and then how to make a pizza, and then you say browse for me, and then it says I'm reading 6 web pages. I'm getting a recap of these 6 web pages, and then it's making a website for me which contains the recap that has how to make a pizza, pictures step by step, how the ingredients. All of that is new knowledge based on the knowledge that already exists on these 6 websites that thing search for me. But then I have most of the information that I need right there. I have a lot of issues with how it's generating a thing that just doesn't work. You have no time, no temperatures, no specific way of doing things, but it's a first version and you still have a pretty good thing overall. Browsing the web doesn't really exist past this point. The web is browsed for you and you get a concentrated version of the web delivered to you rather than getting on a rabbit hole of YouTube videos. So you don't online search on your own. You are AI helped online searched things. So for me, it's just that type of internet and computing behavior is gonna slowly move out. If you wanted to go on the dark web, you need to use Tor to go through the onion router to get access to things that you are not supposed to access through Chrome, for example. If you wanted to access specific things, you would either have an app for that thing, or you would have a secondary sub-tier browser that lets you go directly to an IP, which technically will probably disappear or would be replaced by something different. So that's why my view on computing and internet things is different, because I see how it could become less and less the computing that we are using today. If there is a discovery of new knowledge, it will be added to a website that will then be browsed for me through something. It's pretty good. You can try it. You can still visit the links. Let's say, how do I find a job in Tokyo as a foreigner? I have the browse for me button. When I do the browse for me, it does this. It's checking these 6 websites, getting a page that is built for me with content that is defined for me. Here, I have the links that have been used to generate the first section. And if I scroll through, I have all the other links that have been used. So if I wanted to go to a specific point, website, I can. But I have all of the information that I want in the first 4 blocks. And that's about it. So as long as you are not asking for cooking recipes, you're good. But once again, this is the worst it's gonna be. Like, it cannot be worse than that later. It can be slower, but technically speaking, in terms of the output, it can only get better from here. So it's only positive to me. It's interesting. Specific data from highly specialized people that have the highly specific wording and language would probably have an easier time to access that highly specific and specialized knowledge because they know the words that they need to use. Computing in general, I think it will be changed, and what we currently define as computing isn't really computing anymore. It's more using than computing, even though it's the same, but it feels more or less like using the internet, not computing anything. And the computing part is more, as I said, for that last section, which is the creative people like video editors, designers, people that are building engines, architects. It will be not replaced but led by computer more, as we have seen today. Like, we've tried different tools and they all have like their new AI assistant thing. So if you think about an AI assistant for an architect, you can give them a plan or ask them for a plan, you give them the specification, it will give you a floor plan that is inside of the specification, and you're good. So all of that, right, is not as much computing as we used to do. So I feel like it should work. And so it's limiting the computing power needed by transferring that from your brain to an AI assistant type of thing to generate the things for them. And so I have a hard time picturing what computing is going to be, as it will most likely be using, and I don't know what can be. Like, if you think about the utopist views of Star Trek, for example, where money is not an issue anymore, it's just a transfer of services. You can access any planets you want by traveling, you have beams option, whatever. Jobs don't exist. It's most likely going to be maintenance jobs in case something fail, but other than that, jobs are not necessary anymore. If I use ChatGPT today, learn how to code, or like to ask it how to generate the spam bot thingy that we're trying to build on Thursdays for stream, and I ask it to make it the way that I want, it will tell me or give me the code that I need, but I don't know if it's good, if it's bad. I have no fucking knowledge. So my understanding of the output is gonna be extremely limited, and the only way for me to know if it's good or bad, it would be by running the thing, and if it works, it's good. If it doesn't work, it's not good. If you go down the road 10-15 years, the amount of generations, like the current children's, who would grow up with these techs will not have any fucking clue of how things are supposed to work, and if it doesn't work, they will just say, oh, that doesn't work, with no knowledge of how to fix it. The younger generation right now doesn't know how to use a computer because they have used apps always, and that's it, like touchscreens and apps. If I'm getting like ChatGPT to do some code for me, but I can't check if it's good, then my knowledge is useless, and the only thing that I can do is trust the AI and just run with it. So telling it to find and solve problems and then ask for adjustments, how do you know if the problem has been solved properly in the right way, and what type of adjustment can you do? That is going to be a job on its own by people that have the knowledge or have kept the knowledge throughout the years. Like in some CNC company from my previous jobs, when you have old guy of 70, 80 years old that are still in that fucking shop doing one fucking single piece because they are the only one who know exactly how to use that fucking machine. And every time we have tried to use one of the new one, it doesn't work. So they still need to use the older machine, and the only people that are available to do that are the old people. Same thing in code. You have a lot of companies that are like hiring older people that have coded in the previous languages. They are hiring these people because they are the only one that fucking know how to write that code. So yeah, and you could upload knowledge via Neuralink, but how much knowledge do you have if you have never learned the things that you're supposed to know to check if the problem is solved? You think about it. If you have a generation of humans, when born, have the ability to get a new Neuralink implant that will grow with their brain, so it's symbiotic, and you have the ability to communicate with machine. Getting knowledge in your brain might be a thing, but then the knowledge that you get is coming from a condensed version and rehashed version of the knowledge that was before, which is not the exact knowledge that was before, which is the case anyway, but it's just like machine made. And then from there, the only knowledge that you can give is the knowledge that you have received, and you wouldn't be able to find new knowledge on your own at this point. So going back to what you said earlier, but it's a very different type of generation that has been raised and grown with different approach, and I cannot compute how that would happen and what the outcome would be, because it's not really something that I can conceptualize entirely. I can, but not entirely. So if you upload knowledge with knurling, the only option to get new knowledge would be to scavenge the earth for libraries and hard drives, sanctuaries. What would be uploaded if it's the only way to do that? And even then, that would be kind of complicated. But taking the system of blockchain with validators, like human brain validators, it's a peer-to-peer network where all humans that have a neural link in a cluster are connected, like 2 + 2 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, send 4. Cool. And then you have the same thing with most of the data, right? It's some sort of a check, like, okay, it's passed through 51% of the population on that cluster to make sure that it works. The main issue with that is like you then have sub-cluster beliefs that go or grow bigger because the cluster is heavily influenced by a certain type of people, and then racism all over again. But yeah, it's one of the only thing that you could do to provide the authenticity of the data and keep any third-party like entries. But then once again, if the system is governed or piloted by AI, nothing stops them to say, oh, there is no 8 billion humans, there is now 20, and the new 12 that just happened are just copies of me as the AI, and that's part of the system. And so now that I have 20 billion users, there is just a small cluster of 8 that are saying, no, that's not true, but the other 12 are saying yes, validated. It's easy. I know it can be scary. Everything will be okay. I think at that level of computing being done by some different entity, work as we know it right now doesn't exist. Like, it's the most useless shit that we can do. It will just go back to eating and fucking, and that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. Working is essential. That will still happen. The artistic population, maybe 1%, 10% of the population that is artistically inclined, they'll do it anyways. The people that are interested in the discoveries of the universe, same thing. It's probably between 1 and 10%. They'll do it anyway. You will have a 30%-ish of non-believers that are against the thing, but they are living inside of the society that they have created or that their ancestors have helped to create, and that they're just rebelling against the thing, but they're still benefiting from the thing. I don't think 50% of the population would be interested in scientific discoveries, nor would they be interested in artistic discoveries or creations as a way to pass time, is what I'm saying. As a visual thing, yeah, but that will probably be not led by human brains. As some people have said, some people that are interested into stars and astronomy, if we figure out how to get out, then we will, at some point, get out of the planet. There is a huge portion of the population that will get out, and another that will stay until they don't have a choice but to leave. Though, I forgot how much fucking billion years until the sun but that's not like tomorrow. I'll be dead by then. Bye.